come, Andrei Lubin said imperiously. We go on location. If that is what the magazines want, that is what we'll give them. We'll do a little recce with the girls we shot indoors yesterday. Offer so picky Miss Greenaway 2 sets of prints. See if she seriously likes her clothes being poured over by oi polloi, blown about in the rain, all that nonsense. Kate O'Donnell and Ricky Smart were crammed into the tiny room Andrei called his office, although it was in just as much a state of disarray as the rest of the studio, with clothes hanging apparently randomly on the backs of chairs and the door, and piled high on a low red velvet chaise longue that was parked against a wall. She wondered what the purpose of that was at the same time as she felt Ricky Smart's hand fumbling where it had no right to be. But she had very little wriggle room to escape his attentions, and guessed that if she complained to Andrei, she wouldn't get much sympathy. "Stop that," she hissed at Smart, who stepped back slightly. "Where will we go?" she asked Lubin, interested in his latest idea almost in spite of herself. "David Bailey went to New York," Lubin said, "but there's no money for that sort of caper, so I think for a start we'll go to Highgate Cemetery. Lots of nice monuments. Even Karl Marx, that old bastard. A couple of tasty girls round his tomb will make him look like the old fraud he really was." Kate grinned in spite of herself. The combination of years of tub-thumping sermons from militantly anti-communist priests and the stark fear, which lingered, of the night the nation went to bed not knowing how Kennedy's and Khrushchev's brinkmanship would end, gave her little sympathy for the Russians, who had apparently chased Andrei and Tatiana's ancestors out of their homeland with little more than the clothes they stood up in. The idea of fashion shooting, if not actually dancing around Marx's tomb, quite appealed to her. Little more than half an hour later, Kate found herself shivering in the back of Andrei Lubin's sleek, open-topped car, and the wind blowing her hair wildly, sitting behind the driver and Ricky Smart. She could feel the power of the Mercedes and held on to the grab handle for dear life as Andrei weaved in and out of the traffic in Camden and Kentish towns, and then accelerated with a roar up a steep hill with dense trees on one side, until he screeched to a halt outside a massive entrance on the left side of the road, and a similar entrance on the right. A funeral cortege was passing slowly ahead of them, down the avenue between the trees to the right, as they parked the car. Their vantage point, high above the city, gave glimpses down from Highgate across the River Thames to the hills of Surrey and Kent beyond. "They still use it, then?" she asked as she got her breath back and tried to restore her unruly dark curly hair to some sort of normality. Not the Victorian side, that's more or less full up," Lubin said. "The east side is still in use. That's where old Carl's monument is. Come on, I'll show you." He put the hood up and led the three of them across Swains Lane and into the eastern part of the cemetery, slightly downhill to a fork in the pathway where he swung left, and there, looming over them and attended by a handful of visitors, was the massive bust of Marx amongst the encircling trees, with a couple of fading bouquets of flowers on the floor at the foot of the plinth. "He looks a bit like Father Christmas, or God," Kate said, earning herself a filthy look from a serious-looking couple reading the inscription on the plinth closely. "A bit of a fraud either way," Ricky Smart muttered, glaring at Marx's disciples and giving Kate a slight shiver at hearing aloud what she might have thought but had never dared voice in the community she had grown up in. "Come on, let's have a recce," Lubin said. "What do you think, Kate? Cast your artistic eye over it, why don't you?" Kate glanced around critically, taking him seriously, although she was never sure how serious he was with her. Like most photographers, he did not regard his trade as a suitable one for a woman, and she guessed that Ken Fellows had paid more than he really wanted to for her temporary apprenticeship in Lubin's studio. "I'm surprised it's so close to the road," she said. "You won't want those buildings in, will you?" She waved in the direction of Swains Lane, where some unattractive modern property could be seen. "But maybe this way, in amongst the trees? You could drape a few girls in there, perhaps." Lubin took out his camera and began to shoot quickly around the monument and a little way into the trees. "He's not actually under there, you know," he said, waving at Marx.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.